Because I know everybody's time is valuable, and I want to make sure that you get your time, Cassie, to share your story, your vision, all of the things. So, just real quick. Oh, there she is right there. Look at that timing. Um, Hello, Jennifer. So real quick, my name is Beth McLaughlin McDonald. For those of you, I think we all know each other, but at the same time, if someone decides to watch the recording, I host these Wealth and Wellness Wednesday calls every 2 weeks. And it is basically, I mean, kind of an all-encompassing space for women who are looking to improve their wealth, improve their wellness. And we pretty much know that that covers life, just all of it. Cassie and I met, gosh, it's probably been about a year and a half or so ago, I think, in a coaching group here in Savannah, Georgia, and just really hit it off from the beginning. And I think even those conversations then were about, burnout and overachieving and needing the rest and the resets and things like that. And we've talked real estate investing, we've talked just wealth in general, we've talked wellness, we've talked about all the things. And Cassie is an entrepreneur who has come up with an amazing vision and opportunity. And I'm going to let her share where she's been, how she got here, and then talk through her vision for something I think all of us on this call can probably resonate with. So if you want to go ahead and get started,
Yeah.
Cassie, I will let you take it away with, unless you want me to read your bio. Do you want me to read your bio?
Sure. Maybe you'll, I don't remember what's exactly in there, but maybe I won't forget that. Why not?
All right,
Remind me who I am.
Let me find it really quick. That's your headshot. Oh, wait, it was in the same email. So hold on one second.
I'll get set up while you're doing that.
Okay, awesome. Well, I say it was in the same email.
So while she's pulling that up, I'll just kind of set the stage and let y'all know. So I have some slides prepared. I am not really good at slides. Like I just start sharing. So if I forget, Beth, remind me, like, turn the slide. Um,
Oh,
I'll work on that. I did a whole investor pitch down at South by Southwest and I never got past slide two. When I said the whole presentation, it just never turned the slides. But there are a lot of pictures to share, and so I'll do my best to keep going there. I'm just a talker by trade, I guess. Um, as Beth said, I started this business that came up with this vision because of my own personal story. Did you find it, Beth?
yeah, I have it.
Okay,
I'll read it real quick.
perfect.
If
Okay.
you want to do your full screen on well, I guess you can stay so you're front and center if you want. So Cassie is an entrepreneur and founder of High Tide Collective, a membership-based community and retreat experience designed for founders, investors, and business owners. After years of building and operating businesses, Cassie reached a point that many entrepreneurs quietly experience burnout. Despite stepping away and taking time off, she found that traditional vacations didn't actually solve the problem. They provided a temporary break, but not the clarity, connection, or reset needed to return and operate at a high level. That experience became the catalyst for the High Tide Collective. Cassie set out to create something different, an environment intentionally designed for high performing people to step away from the day to day, reconnect with themselves, and be surrounded by others operating at a similar level. Not a vacation and not a typical retreat, but a space where better thinking, better conversations, and better decisions naturally happen. She's currently leading the development of Marsh Manor, the flagship high tide collective property, with a long term vision of building a portfolio of destination properties that serve as a network for entrepreneurs and investors across the country. Cassie lives on the Georgia coast, just about 45 minutes from me, and is passionate about building businesses and environments that help people perform at their best without sacrificing their health and quality of life. So, with that, Cassie, if there's anything you wanted to plug in other than me plugging in how close you are to me, which makes it even more exciting, I'm going to let you take it away.
Perfect. All right, let's click this. Thank you for the intro. So, like Beth said, I'm from Virginia. Actually, I didn't say that. I'm from Virginia. I grew up about 30 minutes west of Washington, D.C. I spent 17 years in Midlothian, Virginia, just outside of Richmond, Virginia. And then 6 years ago, in the middle of COVID, I was one of the people that escaped the city to get to to nature. And we ended up buying property down here on the Georgia coast with the intention of creating a business from it. So that's kind of what brought me down here. And I'll tell you a little bit about how we got to this business. That the whole idea behind High Tide Collective is to pause with purpose. It when I started this, I thought, oh, this is about anti-hustle. And the reality is it's not. We are never going to stop hustling. It is who we are. Somebody said to me the other day, oh, you're a Virgo. That means that you shoot for perfection, but land amongst excellence. And I was like, oh yeah, that I think that's most of us as entrepreneurs. Like we have really big vision and we have really big work ethic. And because of that, we work hard and long hours. And that tends to sometimes drive us into burnout. And so my vision for this business is not to get away from work, but it is to pause and recharge the person behind the business so that we can slow down enough so that we can go back and go fast. So pause with purpose and rise with the tide because it's the High Tide Collective. I don't know if any of you are boaters or people who are familiar with the coast, but the high tide time is the most beautiful part of the day. And it is just it's glorious. And the vision behind that is, as people say, the rising tide lifts all ships. And with this, my vision for this business is to create the harbor where together as founders and entrepreneurs and really innovators and thought leaders, we can come together into that harbor and rise together. And so that's kind of the vision with High Tide Collective is to pause with this purpose and then together rise. So let me tell you a little bit about how we got here. So in an investor standpoint, I always like to talk about myself, but with you guys, I'm going to. So I'm going to first introduce you to Sally, and Sally is probably all of us. We work really long hours. We have people, staff, our family, our communities, our clients, they all depend upon us. We work 70 plus hours a week, whatever the number is. We work during the business day. We work before the business day. We work after the business day. And sometimes while we're sleeping, we're dreaming about what we do. It never stops. And it never stops really because we love it, right? It is what we do. It is who we are. And so it's always amongst us. Most people, especially if you're an owner operator, every decision stops with you. So whether it's operational or it's financial, or it's leadership driven, every relationship, every decision comes back to you. And that decision fatigue is a real thing. And it leads to exhaustion. So the biggest thing about this is that as the founder, Sally and me and all of you, we are the foundation of our organizations. So if we fail, our health fails, there's a breakdown in whatever that is before in our ability to serve our organizations, then that gives us the opportunity and sometimes the likelihood that the organization also goes down. So keeping the founder as the foundation of the business and the organization strong is the foundation of why I'm building this business. The truth of the matter is, as women, a lot of times, not only are we the foundation of our business, but we're also the foundation of our family. We're the foundation of our community. I know for me right now, I have a graduating senior who, if you don't have a graduating senior, they expect you to be like a kindergarten parent. Like there are so many things. Like I feel like I'm more a full-time parent this month than I have been in probably 18 years. And I have a mother who is ill. So I'm like in this sandwich time where my role as in my family is bigger right now than it has probably been in most of my career. And I'm in the time where I'm building the biggest company I've ever built. So keeping me healthy is really important. And that's really, how we got here. So I always thought that the ways that I could recharge were twofold. One, I would go to a conference where I would be surrounded by other people and I would fill my cup professionally. I would learn, I would grow, I would get recharged. I would validate what I knew, what I was doing was what others were doing. And so that was that kind of virtual pat on the back as an entrepreneur because I don't have a boss who's saying good job. And so that piece of it, but really then I'm still stepping outside of my business. And then I'm filling my head even more with more ideas I'm going to come back and implement. But then I walk back into my business. It was a store at that time. I walk back into my business and have to get back up to speed. And so while amazing and recharging my soul, it doesn't necessarily recharge me as a human. The other piece that I thought would recharge us, and I think we can resonate, this is that we just go on vacation. So like if we need to take time and recharge us as a human, we're going to go on vacation. And the reality with that is that you work double time to get out of your business. And then again, as a female, like I was a mom, we traveled with my parents. So I was so wrapped up in making sure everybody else was having a great vacation that I really never recharged me. And a lot of times I would take work with me on vacation so that I could do the work that I wanted to do that I couldn't do in my office because I was working in my business. I would take that on vacation thinking, oh, I'll have all this downtime. And then I went back again to work feeling like I was unaccomplished because I never got to do that. And now I'm tired. And now I'm going to work double time to get back up to speed. And so, like, well, that didn't work. And now I got to wait another, what, 6 to 12 months to do that again. So that vacation wasn't the thing. Personal, professional seminars and sessions and stuff, amazing, have their own purpose, but not the thing to recharge as a human being so that you can be the foundation of your business. So with that, I created High Tide Collective. And I will say that when I started this, I thought it was just for business owners and just for founders or entrepreneurs or whatever the word that resonates with what you consider yourself as a business owner. And I was actually at an event and they said, well, you're missing some people. And so I've updated this to be the people who I think will now be here, because in the reality, it isn't just what people do that brings them here. It's who they are. It's those people who dream big and work hard and are visionary and are running organizations or teams or their life. And that have big thoughts and they want to have big conversations. It's the people who are striving for more, but also need to just settle in and take care of themselves. So this is really High Tide Collective is both the collective of leaders, entrepreneurs, founders, thought leaders, and innovators. Those people who are thinking and doing big, and then a collective of properties where they gather. So High Tide Collective will be, the vision is that it's a multi-property group or collective across the United States. Our flagship being here in outside of Savannah, Georgia. My hope is that people come here and recharge the person behind the company that they work for, that they're running. And when you slow down, it gives you the opportunity to reconnect with your ideas. It gives you the opportunity to think strategically. It gives you the idea to, ignite your creativity, and really to be inspired, not just by the ability to have inspiration because you are resting and you have the mental space, but you're also inspired by the environment that you're in. You're inspired by the people that you're surrounded with. So that's kind of how High Tide Collective came together. It is not a hotel and it is not just a retreat. There is a retreating aspect of it. People think I think this sometimes, although I love a retreat. I feel like retreats are nice to have. Like, oh, that would be so great if we could do that. If we can find the time, I would love to go on a retreat. And I really do believe that what we're creating here and the way that the pricing is structured is because of this. My goal is that becomes a part of your normal operating procedures, that this is a line item on your P&L. This is in your business budget. This is how you stay strong to be a strong foundation for your business. And so with that, I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on here. So this is the retreat at Marsh Manor. When I was in Richmond, Virginia, so how I kind of got here, I started out in DC. I ran a 7-figure marketing agency out of DC. As my family started to grow, we thought let's move someplace that's more family oriented, and so we ended up in outside of Richmond, Virginia. And then I thought, well, I'll just drive up to DC during the week and I'll run our office there and I'll come home on the weekend. That sounds easy. I don't know what the heck like we think when we're like young moms. And so I did that for a couple years and I thought this is not how I want my family to look. And so I ended up stepping outside of the marketing agency. And I thought I'd come back to Richmond and I'd start a little business that would be fun and I'd open a retail gift store. Well, if anybody has a retail gift store owning friend, I can tell you that little business which seems like fun and beautiful, all the cute things. It was it literally was the hardest thing I've ever done professionally, maybe outside of capital raising. But it was an all on, always nonstop business. And I did that. I grew a beautiful store. The community loved it, and it was literally killing me. There was a moment in my back room where I was having a team meeting and I looked at the team and the right side of my face kind of went numb and my vision blacked out and I thought I need to sit down before I pass out in front of these ladies. Um, and and I'm like, I'd never experienced that. So I excused myself. I went to my office and I just sat there for a minute. And I thought, this is not good. At that point, I was 39. I went to a doctor and I said, what's going on with me? And she said, you need to reduce your stress. And I flippantly said, like, well, what do you expect me to do? Sell my business? And she said, if you want to live. And I thought, well, I should probably pay attention. So that little slow down business ended up being a great business, but one that the stress, it was really the always on. At that time, the kids were busy in school, they were active. I was working, I don't even know how many hours. The store was open 10 to 6, and I was usually at my desk by 5 or 6 in the morning, so I could do all the work before we opened. And then I worked on the backside, and I had a staff. I don't know, I guess it just worked. And when the bottom line comes to you, you do everything to make it happen. And so I stepped outside of the business. I did sell the business, and became a retail consultant. So for the past 10 years, I've done profitability planning, sales forecasting, and inventory management for boutique owners across the country. And what that did was it gave me the opportunity to talk to a lot more people that were like me and realize I was not the only one in that case, in that space that working long hours, the mental exhaustion, the physical exhaustion, the weight gain, um, dang cortisol, like I didn't know what that was. And now everybody, that's all we talk about is cortisol. Evidently, I've got a lot of it or whatever. Mine's not doing whatever it's supposed to be doing. I gained 50 pounds from the time I started my store until the time that I sold it. And then, of course, this past decade, as I've been like approaching menopause, I've been trying to lose that. It is just, the constant struggle of trying to take care of yourself as a person while you try to take care of your family, while you're trying to grow your business. Um, so in that transition between the store um, and starting HTC and my consulting practice, I retreated like it was my job for about a year. It was that point was turning 40, and I went to entrepreneurial retreats. I went to midlife retreats. I basically, like, if I could go to something to like improve myself, I did it. And what I found out in those times was that they were all at five-star resorts, which is wonderful. We all love that. But most of those people were showing up because they were there to, and probably because I was in a business space, that they were there to get business. They were there, we were there because we wanted to show up how we wanted to be and present where we wanted to be, not necessarily go to like recharge and really take care of ourselves. And so when we moved from Richmond to outside of Savannah, I was looking for a property that would be in nature, that would give us the opportunity to bring people together to recharge the human, and to do it in a way like this is not a glamping camp. Like, this is not that there's anything wrong with that because that's kind of fun too. But this will have the feel of a five-star resort, but will have the coastal casualness of some place that you can literally come off of a kayak and go straight and like have your breakfast and lunch and not have to, like, there's no putting on airs here. You show up as a human, and you are here to take care of you first. And then the benefit of being with other people who are like you is the cherry on top, but that you are the primary. And so that's kind of what I was looking for when I looked for this property. It started out as a 40-acre property. I've added additional parcels, so now it's a little over 60 acres. This is a little snapshot of the water side of things. Actually, at low tide, I've got to get a picture of that with the high tide. So that's at low tide. You can see we have an 8 to 10 foot tidal swing here in our back creek. It is a saltwater creek that is full of dolphin and fish and shrimp and crabs and oysters and all sorts of good things. And so, and you can see the marsh is there too. So we are a low country marsh setting on a deep water that we're about a 35-minute boat ride out to the Atlantic. So you get all of the coastal boating side of things, but with the really the low country feel. People say it's like the where the crawdads sing feel when you're here. So this property right now has three single family homes on it. We've been using those as guest houses for short-term rental, weddings and retreats in the short term. And when we're done and we have transformed this property into the first high tide collective property, or um, what will be called the retreat at Marsh Manor, we'll end up with 20 to 40 guest suites. So all of the rooms, all of the houses getting gutted to the studs so that you can not just have a single family home, but have an actual hotel feel where your guest suite has a luxurious sleeping area, an area for rest and recharge and like reading. So maybe it's a beautiful chair with in a window so that you can have great lighting for reading. And everything has a workspace because the idea is not to get away from the work, but to get into a space where you can do that deep work if you want to. It's all chef prepared meals. There is co-working and meeting spaces, all the wellness facilities, the massage and treatment rooms and infrared sauna. So all of that coming into the High Tide Collective as we build it out over the next year. Let's see, I keep talking and I forget all the slides. And I don't need to talk about every slide either. I will say like there isn't really anything out there. People say like, well, who else is like what you're doing? And really the idea that the idea of what I'm building, I haven't found. And if you guys know of anything, I want to know about it because what we know is that there are lots of entrepreneurial communities, probably more than we could ever join. There are lots of personal and professional development opportunities and coaching opportunities out there. There are lots of retreats out there. And then if we start looking at the wellness market, that's a whole thing in itself. And then travel, not a shortage of hotels that we can go stay at. So, but to do them together and to do them in a community where the whole community is looking to values together, personal and professional growth and wellness, that I haven't found in a place where the community actually has a home. So you have things like Young Entrepreneurs or Summit Series or Baby Bathwater where they go in and they take over a property. But I haven't found anything where they actually have to own the real estate. And so that brings us to a place where HTC is really dual engine. So it is the holding company or the operating company, that's High Tide Collective, and then Marsh Manor, which is our flagship property. The other thing that's nice about this, and I'm talking a little bit to you as a customer and a potential investor, is the thing that's great about HTC is that I'm not worried about how to fill my occupancy. I'm filling my occupancy from my membership. Excuse me. And then twofold coming at it too, and I think that's the next slide. Is that there will also be the ability for non-members to come in and take over property a certain number of days per year so they can come and bring an event. So if a coach is doing a retreat or a business wants to bring their team for an offsite, then that can happen here as well. But the common denominator that is really a non-negotiable for me is that everybody on property is the same type of person. We're all doing the same things because if we're sitting next to each other at the pool or we're on the boat heading to yoga, because we're going to do yoga on the sandbar, y'all. If we're coming back, we're coming back in from a sunset tour, you're sitting next to somebody at dinner. I want us to all have common conversation and be able to talk about the same things, maybe different industries, maybe different size organizations, but we're all pushing towards the same goal. And so the example that's the easiest, I think, is if a yoga instructor wanted to come and bring a group, she wouldn't just bring a group of women that were maybe stay-at-home moms. Not that there's anything wrong with stay-at-home moms, because there's days that I really wanted to be one of those, and wish that I could have been. But if that mom wants to talk about a different kind of topic than the person who's growing an organization or dealing with her employee changes or is maybe looking for funding. So I want to make sure that that common denominator is the same so that conversations, and we're all moms too. And so we might talk about moms, but if we start getting into like, how do you grow a business as a mom, that's a very different conversation. So that's kind of the only non-negotiable. And so that we all are the same type of people growing the same kinds of organizations or having the same kinds of conversations. The biggest benefit, I think, to what we're building with HTC is that it is revenue coming from two areas. Revenues coming from HTC down into the property and then coming from the property up. So whether it's event-based or retreat-based non-member revenue at the property level, or it's HTC membership revenue, those two things where you have those two revenue sources times multiple locations, that's where the scalable growth comes from. When I started this process, I thought it was going to be, this is a graphic of the property. I thought we were going to just put four little tree houses on this property and I was going to be a coach and just a few women would come here and we would get together. And then as we started talking about what it was going to look like, I was like, that doesn't make the impact that I want to make in this world and doesn't allow me to serve as many people. So with HTC and Marsh Manor, at 67% occupancy, I can serve 2,000 entrepreneurs a year on this property. That gives us the revenue we need to make the project viable based on the amount of infrastructure that's needed to build this type of property out. The graphic on the left shows the total property, the 62 plus acres. So from the river to the road. So those houses that we were looking at, they're down here on this river end. And then the main road, we're only about a mile off of the main highway. So we're very accessible, 35 minutes from the Savannah airport, 35 minutes from downtown Savannah. I always say we live in the middle of the land of the lovely because we're right in between Hilton Head in Savannah, St. Simons, Jacksonville, Amelia Island, like all these wonderful travel destinations that people come to vacation, and we're sitting right in the middle, and feel very off the grid as you turn down the road onto our private drive. It really does feel like you are leaving all things behind, and then you're tucked back onto this property that is really in the middle of nowhere, but in the middle of everywhere. We will have just what we said, kind of the amenities. So those three first houses are down here. The Oyster House, and actually I think that is on the next slide I can show you, is where kind of is going to be the hub of connection on property. It'll have communal dining, open air and in conditioned communal dining for up to 80 people, outdoor patio dining overlooking a lagoon, with a commercial kitchen and a culinary team that'll serve 3 meals a day, including sunset cheers at night, because that's what we do here on the coast. And then upstairs is boardroom meeting space, a breathwork and yoga studio, and a gym. So that's kind of the hub of where things will happen. And really, as far as like this property goes, and I mentioned this in the last slide, we're not occupancy driven as much as we are membership, concierge level membership, and experience driven for entrepreneurs, founders, innovators, and thought leaders. So this is just a little, so I want to show you a little snapshot of what we're building. So I've been working with an architect over the past year to bring this to life. Everything will have a very low country feel. These are the three first guest houses that will be here. Across those three houses will be 20 guest suites. And again, those guest suites are set up for sleeping, recharging, and working. And by working, I mean like desk with a monitor on the wall with keyboards and your mouse and your mouse pad there, and probably reading glasses and your strength. Like everything is concierge level because we are not open to the public, because it isn't just a hotel somebody's driving down 95 and can pop in and stay. We want to get to know our members as individuals and be able to ensure that when they come that they can dock up and work and they don't have to tote everything with them. And they not only don't, or if they forget something, that it's here. So all of your charging cords, all of your accessories will all just be here so that we can take care of you as an individual while you're here. This is what the Oyster House will look like. All of this opens up and then we'll swing around to this big patio that's overlooking a lagoon. Like the architects have just done a great job of making it beautiful, but doing it in a way that is very relaxed and casual, but in a elevated way. The other things that we're putting in here is two pools, a big infinity pool overlooking the river with a pool house, so people can recharge by connection or silence. Like, we either go inward or we like to talk. I kind of like both. And so the riverfront pool will be that pool for connection. There'll also be a serenity pool that will be for that pool where you just need to go and have some quiet time, or you want to do some reading. There is a Crab Shack bar that is overlooking the river. That's kind of will be a good hangout area. We'll do miles of walking trails, some of which are already in. We're talking about putting tennis and pickleball in. Fire pits, treatment rooms, infrared sauna, cold plunge, like all of the things that you need to just be and relax and recharge will be here, because that's the primary. And then again, as you start to kind of come to it, come back to life a little bit, then the work area is there should you want to do that on your time here. There is an expansion. So I think in the beginning I'd said there's 20 to 40 rooms. So for those first three houses that we're renovating, that's the 20 guest suites we will open. So the goal is to get through permitting by the end of the summer and start construction, be open for first guests to be on property with us by I want to say late summer. I think reality is probably, I was going to say late spring. I think reality is summer next year. And then the expansion will be happening continuously. So we're not going to pause and then come back, but we'll get those amenities and the Oyster House open with the first 20 guest suites in those renovations. And then we're going to come back and do a retreat village that will be the expansion. So there'll be a cluster of guest cottages that will have an additional 20 rooms. So that way we'll have a total of 40 guest suites available with a double occupancy of 80 people. That's really kind of my vision of the cap of who's on property because the goal is to be small enough that we can connect, but large enough to be able to have, enough people to have meaningful conversations and connection with. Um, there are because it is a membership based program. So you join the collective, which is kind of the mastermind. And then in the beginning, the first our signature product I'm calling a rest and recharge, and it is very specifically designed to be 3 nights and 4 days. 3 nights and 4 days because one, we need it to be short enough so we can get out of our businesses and willing to do it. I can't tell you how many women I hear say, well, I can't go on a vacation without my family. And this is not a vacation. This is the take care of the owner behind the foundation of take care of the founder who is the foundation. So it is short enough to not feel like you're taking away from your family, not taking away from your business, but long enough so that you can actually recharge and then have that time for connection and some strategic thinking and work if you so chose to do that. The way that there is a founders club, and I think that's my next slide. I didn't do the look ahead. The only thing I really want to say here, anything that you would want to do at a true resort will probably be here. The boat rides, the yoga, the breath work, the massage. I mean, all of those things that nourish you are here, as well as like walking trails with areas to just sit and be. The whole idea is to come in here and recharge the human. There is some support though, and it is or activities, planned opportunities to connect or to learn. I think really because when we do these things, we think, well, we have to go back better, right? We have to go back and we have to take something back with us. What we're taking back is our health and wellness. But again, we don't shut this off. It's just who we are. And so what can we do to learn as we're there? And so um, nothing will be mandatory. Everything is there to support and not provide structure. So if you are the person who gets up early and you want to go do yoga, great. If you don't, I mean, there's nothing, it is not like a retreat where you get a calendar and you're expected to be there. This is for you to plug in as you want and as best serves you. Um, the most important thing off of this slide is that when we started selling Founders Club, so I've been talking about this. I started buying the property 5 years ago, and over the past 5 years have been building out the vision while I've been acquiring the property. Um, every person that I've talked to about this says, "Oh my gosh, I want to do that. I want to be there. I can't wait till you build it. Build it, and I will come." Like Field of Dreams, and I'm like, "Great." I'm like, "I can't build it unless I have some help. So how are we going to do that?" And so, and I've bootstrapped and self-funded the acquisition of the real estate to this stage. And right now the value of the real estate is probably around $3 million. So that's where how far I've taken it. And now I'm looking to come back and build it out. And so with that comes additional financing. And so we're like, well, how do we do that? And we started launching a founders club, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But that founders club, that's really the members, that is the customers of HTC. And what I learned during that sales process is that everybody wants me to build it, and they will come. Let me know as it gets closer. Let me know once it's open, as you know when it's going to be open, and we get there. And what I've shifted to in this year is not certainly we're still taking Founders Club members if there's somebody who's visionary enough to say like, I don't care when it's open, I just want to be a part of it. But we've gone and we've put a founding investor program together because what I need to shift from is not build it and we will come, but I believe in what you are doing. I believe that entrepreneurs and founders need some place like this, and I want to help you build it. And so that's really been the shift right now. And with that, what we did was we started a safe. So the total project is about $20 million. I actually think it's going to come in less than that. But every capital raiser that I've talked to has said you want to go in with the big number because it's a lot easier to ask for the big number and not take it all than it is to come back and need an extra $1 or $2 million at the end. And as we all know, construction costs are very high right now. So my personal target is to get it to club in close to 15. But the 20 is the number that we have and we're using right now. And really it is a project that we're not just that 20 million isn't the build out of Marsh Manor only. It is also the build out of High Tide Collective. And so we are building the engine that is going to fuel the membership at the same time that we're building out the property, the first property where they will come to stay. So the safe note is where we are right now. So we started selling Founders Club, but we still are. I'll tell you more about that in 2 seconds. But the safe note is really the bridge. So before I can tell somebody, because the number one thing the Founders Club when people want to know is when can we come here? That before I can tell them, I have to get through permitting. So I've already gone through the zoning process. And getting through permitting is what will give us the time for construction to begin and be able to say, okay, now we have a tentative open date. So the safe note gets us through that. Because we're on the water, there's a lot of civil work that needs to be done. So that's all of the civil work, the finishing of the architecture, and design and layout of the property, and then all of the permitting process. And the goal is to sell that safe in the next 90 days. So we've been, working on that for the past month, and we will continue to work on that over the next 90 days. And the goal would be to have the million secured by the end of July. At the same time, we're selling Founders Club simultaneously. That is a self-funding, non-equity capital raise for this project. That's about 3 million. And then we'll come back, and hopefully by the time we get to the future capital, we'll have a little tighter knowledge of where the total project would come in. But if it came in at 16 million, we'll do that through either a Series A, or we'll do it through debt on the real on the collateral, the real estate itself. So this is most likely the only time, and this safe is the only time that we're looking at giving up equity, both at the High Tide Collective level as well as at the real estate, the Marsh Manor level. Let's see. I just said that. So Founders Club. So what Founders Club? So there's 3 ways right now for somebody to participate. So if you are like, I love this. I am Cassie. I am Sarah. Like this resonates with me, and I love this, and I want to go to this place. Then that is Founders Club, and what Founders Club comes with. So Founders Club, as I sell it, there are 500 Founders Club spots that will be available. It's being sold at $59.95. It is about a $12,000 value because with Founders Club comes 2 rest and recharges. So you get to come to property twice for 2 3-night 4-day stays. You also, like, I'm doing a Founders Club retreat. So the original Founders Club are kind of getting a bonus. We're doing a retreat at the end of May for the existing Founders Club to come on, and that's included just to start the community, because the capital raise process, as I'm sure most of you know, is not necessarily an overnight process. And we had a lot of foundation that we had to lay before. So this selling process has been longer for the Founders Club members than I would have liked in the beginning. So we're doing a few little bonuses, some dinners on property, and we'll also start doing some things online. So there is the what do you actually get, and then what are the intangible benefits. And so we are doing a lot of marketing exposure across the member base. So as I said before, I can serve 2,000 members on this property alone. We're looking at having 10 properties, and our membership will grow. So this is a 20,000, 40,000 member base as at the time of maturity. And those founders that come on in that first 500 will have marketing exposure across all of those always, because HTC won't exist without them. And then so that's Founders Club. So it's marketing exposure forever. It is first rights and VIP access rights at all properties in the future, both Marsh Manor and future HTC properties. And then it is those two rest and recharges. And so instead of getting paying what would be the two rest and recharge price, you get in at the 59.95 for the first year. There also will be always three levels of pricing. There'll be a founders club pricing, there'll be a member pricing, and there'll be a non-member price. So founders will also have that lowest price. And then what we found while we were doing it was this founding investor. And so that's when the SAFE came about. SAFE, you can join the SAFE at a minimum of $10,000, but at $20,000 investment or more, I'm gifting you your Founders Club benefit. So you get that $12,000 value that would be $6,000 in cash, and you get that included if you come in at the SAFE at $20,000 or more. The SAFE will close at $1 million. It and that $1 million could come it could come in a whole lot of $20,000 members, or a whole lot of 10,000, or it could come in two half million, or four 250s, or one person who just says, let's do it and make it happen. So I don't know when the SAFE will close. I'm saying my goal is to finish it in the next 90 days. I'd love to finish it as soon as possible because we're ready to do the thing. And people are ready for it to be here. So I'm excited about that. The last thing I will say is that we started this Foundations for the Future. There are not everybody can be a founder, one, because they don't fit the customer base. Or they, it just isn't for them, but they know an entrepreneur or founder that has burnt out, that they want to recognize, or they just want to recognize their business. So we started this Foundations for the Future. This is another income stream to fund this project. This is just a Marsh Manor. Although the Founders Club and the founding investors will also have bricks. But if somebody wasn't one of those and they just wanted to support the cause, we are doing this Foundations for the Future. Bricks are $250 a piece, and people are doing everything from honoring a founder that they know, putting a business name of their business or somebody that they know, and then a lot of some people are even just doing like inspirational quotes that would be motivational if somebody was walking. So we're going to use these bricks. One is a way to fund. Our target for this is 1,000 bricks, so that's a $250,000 cash infusion into the project, and we're going to use that to put in the walkways that are surrounding the oyster house and the patio at the oyster house, just so that we are literally creating the foundation for these entrepreneurs to come to, and then recognizing those that have paved the way to make that happen. I think that's it. This is the team. So I am a founder, operator-led, or I'm an operator-led founder. I've been an entrepreneur and a business owner for my entire career. I won't say how many years that is because it's a whole lot. It's like 30, forever. I'm almost 50. So I started this journey when I was 40, and it has taken the past decade for me to acquire the property and really bring it to fruition. I want to say that was my work through my consulting practice that I realized I am not the only one. And really just want to help others to have a place where they can go and be the best them, so they can be the best business owner, so they can be the best family members, they can be the best community member. I've put together a team. Sophia is my interior designer. She's not only doing the design of the aesthetic of the property, but the use of it, and how do we make it beautiful but also functional. When we were talking about time zones earlier, my assistant is in the Philippines, so she's 12 hours ahead of me, Beth. And the beautiful thing about that is I literally am working while she's working while I'm asleep, which is great. I did bring in a construction consultant. I've never done a project of this size. And so he is really going to manage the GC that we're bringing on board to make sure that we are doing things in the most cost-effective way, and that we can best utilize the funds that we are bringing in. My architecture firm is both for the interiors, the exteriors, and the land use, and they are a nationwide firm. So the whole vision with this is to build the process, rinse and repeat, and build out future locations so that it is scalable. I brought on Jackie. Ingrid is really my mentor. She has been a strategic partner and a mentor for me from a capital raising standpoint. Marissa comes out of JW Marriott and the Ritz-Carlton from a concierge level. So we're putting the team together to make sure that it is not just me that is driving this, but these are industry experts that have all grown and grown and other successful businesses that they've run or that they've helped grow, and put the team behind it so that we can be the best stewards of the money and build the best business that will bring the investment return, but also bring the experience that we want for our members. I think that is it, you guys. This is my son. This is the river behind us. This actually is at high tide. So you can see how beautiful at high tide it looks completely different. And there is just no thing better than surrounding yourself I'll just end with this, like when we are together, like the sharing, the caring, the connection, the community, like there is nothing that will light your soul up better than being with other people who are doing what you're doing, and validating that you're doing a great thing or learning a little something that you can take back to grow your business with. And then doing it in a setting that allows you that space to just be. And that is what all of HTC's properties will be. They'll all have that nature element. Beth was saying earlier, I don't know if that was before the recording, but all in nature, all within a 2 hour radius of a major airport, an hour and a half to 2 hour radius of a major airport, all within a 2 hour radius of a major business hub, and all in an area that has some sort of desirable pull from a hospitality standpoint. So we're 35 minutes outside of Savannah. So we're looking at other places that people want to go, but we're finding the properties in those areas that are designed for just feeling a little off the grid, and allowing nature to be the inspiration and quiet to be the inspiration, as much as the people that you're surrounded with. So that's my story.
Love it. And that picture looks amazing. I've been on the property now 3 times, I think. Um, Once you had, or maybe, no, I think 3 times. Once you had a business luncheon, or maybe even twice, you had like a Coaches of Savannah kind of a get together to let us experience the property. And that was when you were doing like the short-term rentals and retreats and things like that. And then I have been to one of I guess the kickoff basically of the entire project. You had a dinner, a very nice dinner on property. So it was nice to see like the different times of day, and of course the different tides and times of year and things like that with the property. And just the views are unbelievable. I mean, you feel like you're so far away from reality, and you're really, I would say, what, 7 minutes off of I-95?
If even.
Yeah, I mean, it's super close, but you don't feel it like at all. You feel like you're completely in another world. So it's about 4 minutes till one, and we can go on forever. But if people need to hop off, one of the questions that I have, if you can clarify, um, this is not only for me as a person who needs to just do this unwind, reset, recharge, and all of that, but let's say I'm a coach or a mentor, or I have a group of women I'm working with, and we all need this reset and recharge, and like a team bonding or team building or something like that. Like they they don't have to be actual members, but if I'm a member, like we can come as a group, or I can come by myself just to get away and maybe find a new group of people to kind of add to my community.
Correct. So a couple answers in there. The first is that um, a coach or an organization that wants to bring their team does not need to be a member. They can come twice as a non-member, and they can bring non-members with them. The goal would be that the people that they would be bringing are either members of their organization or people who would fit the membership demographic. So that's first and foremost. Second of all, once you are a member, then you can also come yourself, or you can bring your team. The membership is set up to be for a single user. There are discounts if I've got members who are coming on that are partnerships, and so there's special prices for that. But it's set up to be single member because it is all inclusive. And then there are small upgrades if you wanted to bring somebody that was either staying in your room, or you wanted to bring somebody that they had their own room. it is, we will, the capacity for the dining will be double occupancy. So depending on what the room structure is, we'll set up to do that both.
Perfect.
Yep.
Because I see this as such an opportunity to, have whether it's, 3, 5, 12 women who
Mhm.
just need to get away. And like you said, like there's always there are retreats everywhere, there's conferences everywhere, and there's, some of that connection, but it's always so fast paced. There's so much going on that, what really happens when we all go back to real life. And I feel like this is one of those opportunities where you really can like dial down and really, come up with the ideas and come up with um, where you all align with each other and then take that back with you after being like experiencing it together at a completely different pace of you're at a conference and there's this at this time, this at this time, this at this time. But on another note, you and I have also talked about having almost like themes,
Mhm.
occasionally like quarterly or bi-monthly or whatever that looks like. And maybe there's a week that you focus on just literally like health and wellness. So
Mhm.
maybe it's a whole week of health and wellness coaches coming together, whether they're bringing their team, whether they're, doing their own thing or whether they're affiliated with another company and bringing their team, but for people to collaborate and kind of see like how people can work together and, build out that community as well. And I think, we talked about the financial space, like how much opportunity is there, whether it's an investing piece or even, family planning and long-term planning and things like that. So that's pretty exciting for opportunities to partner with so many people on so many levels.
Yeah. I mean, I think as a society that we have been conditioned to be consumers. We like to consume knowledge and content. And I think the way so we talk what I'm calling is like a focus of the week, right? Or a focus of how whatever the frequency is or the timing is. So whether it's industry focused or it's topic focused or it's um some of the things that people have thrown out have been like founders over 40 or founders approaching retirement. Um it could be theme related like health and wellness or AI, how to and bring AI into your business. It could be lots of different things, but all of those would be, I think there's two tiers of it, Beth. I think there's one where it's kind of the topic of that everything when we do here will be check-in, almost like a camp style. Everybody will check in together as a cohort and be here for 3 nights, 4 days, and then check out. And so that theme of that week or that group that's on property um, will be there, but not be a set, like not be a workshop, like not these deep dives in knowledge base, but light conversations or maybe an opportunity like a little lunch and learn or something. But then we've talked about people have said, well, I want more of that. Can we do those intensives? And so I think it'll be a combination of this is the theme of the week. And then if you want that optional deeper dive or that bigger intensive, I think that will be there too. And that really is the beauty of Founders Club is that the Founders Club, they are getting the best pricing and the most exposure because that's my way to thank them. But they really are almost like the board of directors. Like they're going to be the ones that are saying, like, this is what we need. This is what we want to have on property. This is what we want to do while we're there. This is the experience that we want. And so they are, I can't do this without them, both financially and also from their input. And so that's why Founders Club is so important.
I love it. So if someone is not on my mailing list, my email list, because they'll get all the links, all the things, all the information, how to contact you and all of that. So for someone who is seeing this on YouTube or just seeing the recording because somebody shared it with them, like what's the easiest, best way to find you, ask questions,
Yep.
see how they can get involved? What's the best way for people to do that?
Sure. So the easiest way, and I'll update this slide with that before I send you the final to send out, but the easiest way is to go to thehightidecollective.com. There's an there's links there to join Founders Club. There's links there to schedule a call to learn more. As the founder, I would love to talk to anybody who is interested in talking about this. I want to know what they want here. I want to know what they want to know from an investing standpoint, and I certainly would love to talk to them if they'd like to be a founding member. So access to me right now is really easy, and I am happy to talk with whomever who is interested in doing so. But the hightidecollective.com, all contact information there, links to get on my calendar are there. Happy to talk anytime.
Perfect. And I don't want to not mention this as well. Anyone can be an affiliate for you as well, right? So they could share
Yes.
this with others. And then what does that look like?
So that looks like built into the so first of all, I cannot do this on my own, right? This we're trying to build not just a small company, but a very large one, a very large membership-based organization. And so with that, it takes getting out into the networks of other people. And so if you are, somebody who works with business owners or founders, and you have the ability to share with them for every there is a little affiliate training that you can go through. I never want the affiliate to have to sell this product. I just want you to introduce the concept. When somebody says, "Oh, that sounds amazing. I build it and I'd like to come." Then we have Founders Club sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays from at 8 a.m. and noon Eastern. So really the affiliate, all they're doing is presenting the idea, and when there is interest, pushing them to the calendar so that they can join in one of those Founders Club sessions. And at that time, then I'll share the rest of the details so that we can, and then there is of course, a thank you that goes back to that affiliate to thank them for bringing that person to us.
I love it. I love it. Any last thoughts that you have? Maybe something that came to mind that wasn't on a slide, things that we've talked about. Um, we've covered a lot, and I think we can all relate to the, the personal development side of the benefits of the recharge, the reset, you can't take care of you or you can't take care of others if you're not taking care of you. And this is one of those opportunities, both from a personal and professional standpoint. Anything else that comes to mind? And obviously, I'll open up to Paulina and Pam. They're still on the call if they have questions as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the the most important thing to me about this project is the ability to change lives. I mean, we as business owners, we change the lives of our customers and our community and our team members. And I don't ever want that to be at the detriment of the founder themselves. The founder has so much exposure, mentally, physically, financially. And I just want the best for them. One last thing I totally forgot to say, I'll say it real quick, is that part of this is also there's a nonprofit component of this, where we're going to put a foundation together to start supporting the next group of young entrepreneurs. And so that New Tide Foundation, that's really my why. I have a teenage son that came out of COVID and wanted to be an entrepreneur and didn't want to learn from his entrepreneur mom, but didn't really have the capital or the connections, or the knowledge or the work ethic to start something. And so where did he go? He went to the internet. And so sometimes things there are helpful and sometimes they're not. And so I really want to build a place where we as founders can come together and take care of ourselves and then help grow the next generation of young entrepreneurs.
I love that.
I could talk about that for a whole long time, but we'll save that for later. But that is my why. Like that, this is to change the life of both the founders that are here, but the communities we support, and hopefully the next generation of founders as well.
I love that.
Mhm.
Paulina, I think you had unmuted yourself. Did you have a question for Cassie?
Yeah, I may have missed it. Just the full timeline, because I know you said you're racing the 1 million, just the full
Yep.
timeline project completion.
So everything stems around how fast we can get through permitting. So the goal is over the next 90 days is to finish out the safe. While we're doing that, the contractors are working. So my hope is to be through permitting by the end of this summer, to have our first guests on property sometime next summer. I keep wanting to say spring, but I think summer is realistic. And then we'll finish out that expansion, that retreat village expansion, and be open for the full 40 suites by the end of probably the next spring or early summer. So by spring, summer of 2027 will be when we receive our first guests. And then by spring, summer of 2028 will be when everything is open. Um, and if we can build it faster, everything really stems around permitting right now.
Thank you. And then the other question I had was just around return on investment on both sides, both this from a safe perspective and then from if you wanted to join the investors club, the 20 plus.
Mhm.
Is that a separate conversation?
And so the safe and the founding investors are the same. So right now we're building into the safe. We're selling or we're bringing on investors in that safe through an SPV. So in order to participate that, it's a minimum of a $10,000 investment. And at 20,000 plus is when I'm gifting you the Founders Club. So
Okay.
that is all into the safe. At the end of that, when the safe closes out, at the end of that $1 million, then we will assess where we are.
Okay.
And we will convert to most likely a Series A capital raise, probably just on the real estate side of things. Um,
Okay.
and then and some of it might be debt. So we'll I'd like to give up as little equity as possible, but at the same time need that equity share in order to be able to make it happen. So we're balancing how much can we do in debt versus how much do we need to bring in equity. One of the things I'll say is Beth and I were talking earlier, like the beautiful thing about the safe to me is that it allows smaller investors the ability to be a part of something very early in a
Hmm.
small way that could have tremendous impact. So um, while I say the safe could close out with one person or two people coming in and doing it, like my hope is that we can bring in a bunch of founders in a smaller that could be very impactful for them as they grow. So I don't know
Okay.
when that safe will close out. Depends on how the money flows in.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Would love to talk more about with you if you'd like.
All right. Thanks.
Anything else, Beth?
I think that's everything. I mean, obviously you covered so much. The slides are beautiful and very helpful. So we'll get those sent out to the email list with the recording once that's downloaded. And then any other, supporting materials and things like that we can send out as well in the email. And other than that, if somebody doesn't get that email because they're just seeing this, like you said, they can reach out to you through the hightidecollective.com and set up a call with you and get more details.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Steve, for being here, for having me here, Beth, for Pam and Paulina and the others that were here for taking the time to listen to my vision. And I hope it is something that resonates with you and would love to continue the discussion offline anytime.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I think this was a great starting point, at least with a lot of people in my communities, both from the investor side as well as women who are just looking for that wellness reset. So thank you for your time and partnership, and I look forward to see where we go from here.
That sounds good. Hope everybody has a great day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Beth.
All
Great
right.
meeting you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Likewise.
Bye.